Notice is hereby given of the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the town of Westfield in the county of Union, New Jersey at 6 p.m. on the evening of Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, in Cafeteria B of Westfield High School, 550 Dorian Road, Westfield, New Jersey. The board will move immediately into private session to discuss matters rendered confidential by state and federal law, including harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The public portion of the meeting will resume at 7 p.m. The purpose of the meeting is to transact the regular business of the board and to transact any other business to come properly before the board. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act, the Westfield School Board on Thursday, February 27th, 2025, caused to be posted at the Office of the Board of Education, located at 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey, and delivered to the Westfield Leader, the Star Ledger, the Westfield Library, Town Clerk of Westfield, Tap into Westfield, and Patch.com, a meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting. Patty, may we have a roll call, please?
Rob Bonaccio.
Here.
Kent Diamond.
Here.
Brendan Galligan.
Here.
Charles Jelinas.
Here.
Layla Morelli.
Here.
Sonal Patel.
Here.
Kristen Sonic Schmeltz. Julie Steinberg. Mary Wickens.
Here.
Lastly, please stand for a flag salute. Kent, would you mind leading? I move the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the Board of Education move into private session for the purpose of discussing matters rendered confidential by state and federal law, including harassment, intimidation, and bullying incidents, and be it further resolved that any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential, and the results of the discussion will be made public as soon as practicable. Do I have a second? Julie? We do this by voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? We're in executive session.
Where does she have Burgoyne?
No, she has Burgoyne.
Okay, so she's 6 or 7, one of those two. But so hopefully they move that because that would
Yeah.
be nice.
I like your Villanova
Thank
shirt.
you, I
Very
know.
nice. Very nice.
I'm super excited. But
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be. I'm excited.
You're gonna have so much fun.
I know.
College is the best.
That's what my
College
dad
is the
says. I'm
best.
super excited.
It's like the best 4 years. Like high school, no. It has no comparison.
Okay, I'm excited. Is Riley coming tonight? Because I know some of the musical kids are coming.
Yeah, but she does set.
Okay.
She does, so she's not coming. She's been there all day.
Oh yeah, get her out of here. Yeah. I know they were like.
I don't even know if she's still there, because like it's getting down to the wire, so she stays really late
Yeah.
to do the set.
Yeah, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
And I know even
And
the
she
kids, they're here all.
she just
all
got
day, all
home.
night.
She just got home.
Oh, good.
But she complains because like her and Allie Fatoot are
Yes.
the head set,
Okay, so they have to.
and the nobody listens to them. Like the freshmen, like they're all fooling around.
You gotta,
And I don't know
gotta,
if you know
like, get 'em
Riley's
under-
personality. Riley's just like,
Yeah,
they're not
like-
listening to me. I gotta get this done.
All right, we'll call the meeting back into order. I made sure I brought the heavyweights here to make sure everybody stays calm and pays attention in the meeting over here, so this is great. Let's start. I know there are 2 announcements for the board. Let's get that out of the way, and then we'll move to the performance. So CJ, I think you have one of them?
Yes. We continue to celebrate the rich cultural tapestry of the Westfield school community. This month, we honor Irish American heritage, recognize the invaluable contributions of women throughout history for Women's History Month, and extend warm wishes for Eid al-Fitr, beginning at sundown on March 29. Thank you.
And Sonal, I think you have the second.
The next regular public meeting of the Board of Education will be on Tuesday, March 25th in Cafeteria B at Westfield High School, beginning at 7 p.m. The meeting will be live streamed via the district YouTube channel, which viewers can access on the board tab on the district website. The complete agenda will be available on Friday, March 21st, also on the board tab. The board will hold a public hearing to vote on the final base operating budget for 2025-2026 and ballot language for both the bond referendum and the budget's additional spending proposal. We look forward to celebrating our champion winter athletic teams. Okay, what do we do with that tonight? Okay, thank you.
All right, now to the fun stuff. March is Youth Art Month and Music in Our Schools Month, a time to highlight the vital role of the arts in education. While creativity and artistic expression are valued in our schools every day, this month provides a special opportunity to showcase the incredible talent of our students. Tonight, the board has before it a resolution recognizing Youth Art Month, that's a mouthful, and Music in Our Schools Month, and supporting the many students, teachers, staff, and parents who engage in the arts and share their talents with our community, something which I support as a former theater kid. I am now delighted to welcome Supervisor of Visual and Performing Arts, Shauna Longo, along with members of the cast of Westfield High School's spring production of Smile. Ms. Longo, I invite you to the podium to share a few words about the spring production and the exciting programs and events that continue to foster a vibrant arts culture in the Westfield Public Schools, enhancing the educational experience and enriching our entire community.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So excited to be here again. It feels like I blinked and it was a year ago. But we are excited and grateful for you passing the resolution tonight celebrating Arts in Our Schools Month as I've kind of transitioned us to it. I'm very proud of our Music for All advocacy and action. We were a 2025 award recipient, which is a national award for community involvement in our Arts in Our Schools Month last year. So we continue that tradition this year. We kicked off with our opening reception tonight at the Roy Gallery downtown. We have over 180 pieces of artwork on display between the sidewalk of the Rialto front windows and the Westfield Library. We featured 2 12th grade art students, Milo Aitken and Maisie Stager, whose work was unveiled in Roy's Gallery tonight. And so we've had our breakfast with the bands this past Saturday, which was a wonderful experience and always is. Our Roosevelt and Edison bands will be on tour this Friday for our Music in Our Schools Month tour. That they will go to all the elementary schools on their ends of town, focusing on the instruments within the band and kind of as the first introduction to that for the year. And then we have, you're going to hear the spring musical tonight for the high school, Smile, which opens in 2 weeks on March 20th, 21st and 22nd. This weekend, Shrek opens at Edison Schools. That runs March 6th through 8th. Next week, come rock out at Roosevelt with Rock of Ages. So bring your 80s glam rock and all that it brings. And that is March 13th through the 15th. We also have March Madness going on in the high school band program. A lot of the teachers, the music teachers throughout our department also participate. We do kind of a bracket of Sousa and other famous marches, and we see who is the winner at the end of the month. So lots of engaging and fun activities to celebrate the arts throughout all of our programs. So without further ado, here's a little preview of our upcoming high school musical, Smile.
Gotta use these.
Hi, I'm Dale Wilson Shears, president of the Young American Miss Foundation, here with a public service message from our national headquarters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'd like to urge you to participate in this local group, thus joining thousands of Lions, Bears, Elks, JCs, Kiwanians, and Rotarians nationwide. What is a Young American Miss?
Oh gosh, just real average, you know? Ordinary, really.
America's future.
She's a typical high school senior. Call you Saturday night. Saturday night. I will. And she's going to Santa Rosa, representing her town with pride. It's a long way to Santa Rosa, but she's ready for the airplane ride. Yes, she's going to Santa Rosa, so scared she still can't wait to arrive up in Santa Rosa, 40 miles above the Golden Gate. And she's going to Santa Rosa, but she's never been there before. She knows what's in Santa Rosa. We'll be watching her and keeping score on a typical high school senior, golden girl of the Sunshine State. The blonde brunette, the mezzo-soprano, who's a drum majorette and plays the piano. She's the one on the left, just out of her braces. She's the one with the cleft, the freshest of faces. Have you spotted her yet? The one who the winner will be. Look close, she's me. She's me. She's me.
All right, girls, this way. Take seats, find yourselves a place to sit. You'll need a pen, paper, and attention, girls! Please, we've got to start. Now, I'd like to introduce the coordinator of our state pageant, a former Young American Miss herself, Mrs. Brenda DiCarlo Freelander.
Hi. I hope you were listening and picked up your pens because you may want to take notes. The next few weeks will be the busiest and most wonderful of your lives. So savor each moment, girls. As anyone over 30 can tell you, it'll never come again. The very best week of your lives. The very best week of your lives. Up at 7, grab a shower, go breakfast down in half an hour, 'cause 8 o'clock, your first rehearsal start. Carols passing out the songs we'll use this year. Please look at the music and learn all the lyrics by heart. Work till 5, run time's upon us to meet the JCs and Kiwanis. You're gonna love all of them and their wives. Remember, they're your friends and local sponsors of the very best week of your lives.
Hi, I'm Dory Hudson, Yuba City.
Robin Gibson, Antelope Valley.
Says you were bunk sisters. Does that mean roommates?
I think so.
Ladies, your choreographer for the week, Mr. Tommy French.
Coffee.
Coffee. Carol.
You'll feel absolutely wonderful when you decide it. You'll feel healthy and wonderful. I know I've tried it. I simply wake up every day, open up my eyes, stretch, and then say, okay, gonna shine, shine. I repeat it when I rise myself, gonna shine, shine. And I find that I surprise myself, gonna shine, shine. Extrovert and exercise myself, I know the world's gonna be mine if I shine.
See, Mom, things aren't what I thought they'd be, Mom. They keep telling us it's not a competition. Then these feelings strike, feelings I don't understand, and I'm not sure I like.
It's like a madhouse out there. It's so intense. You can't think, all the excitement. Rob, it's just insane. Robin, you're special. Robin, you sparkle. Look there and see. Robin, it's true. Do it for me.
I'm just a nervous wreck. I don't even think that I can.
Robin, I know how. Robin, I feel how strong you can be. Don't say you're not. Give it a shot. do it for me.
I've learned something inspirational. I've got to share it. If you want to be sensational, this works, I swear it. You gotta wake up every day, open up my eyes, stretch, and then say, gotta shine.
This is my year, think. This is my second chance. Should I wear blue or pink? Should I?
That's it, girls, dance. Okay, ladies, that's looking nice.
Nice won't do. It's gotta be perfect.
Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, Disneyland.
Someone give me Disneyland. Take me there to Disneyland. And when I get to Disneyland, I'll stay.
Well, that was fantastic. Thanks very much to the cast and to the entire team of directors and choreographers and set instructors and I mean, just you name it. It's going to be a fantastic show. I don't know how best to segue to a report by district administration, but we're going to try. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Gonzalez, who I believe he and Patty have a budget presentation for us that will involve some song, I think, for state aid, maybe? I don't know.
Thank you. And actually, it is a great segue because everything we do, I think, is reinforced by what we just saw this evening. The work that the board and the administration engage in to develop a responsible budget that allows us to continue to build on this tradition of excellence is no easy task, but it certainly represents a partnership that exists at this table on this dais, but it's also a partnership over the last several years that has now directly involved our community by participating in a vote every April, not just to select your Board of Education members, but also to identify whether or not we have the ability to continue our work each and every year is dependent on getting voter approval for the additional funding proposals that we have presented. So this evening will be the third in our series of presentations about the 2025-26 budget, as well as the bond referendum, both which will be on the ballot in April. This evening, we will focus primarily on the operating budget because today we will be presenting to the Board of Education for their vote the preliminary budget, which is a key step in the process to getting our budget reviewed by the county office of the Department of Education, so that we could then, at the next board meeting on March 25th, present the final budget for review and approval by the Board of Education. Each time we've presented so far, we've sort of continued to reinforce the importance of this dual funding opportunity for the school district, one that resides in the annual operating budget and one that resides in the bond referendum. And each of them play a key role in the future and the growth of this district. One that focuses on the daily operational costs, whereas the other focuses on the long-term and large capital improvement projects. Both will be part of the April 15th vote, but we will begin tonight focusing on the budget. As we presented last board meeting, our 2025-2026 budget really prioritized the continuation of our existing programs and initiatives, so that the work that we started 2 years ago to realize the goals and objectives of our strategic plan are in fact being manifested in the initiatives, in the staff, and in the programs that we see. So by being able to continue that work, as mentioned last board meeting, it really means that we are not only fulfilling our promise, but we are seeing that promise sustained year after year. In addition to the programs, in addition to the initiatives, we're maintaining existing staffing, we're maintaining existing course offerings, but we're also implementing and introducing a new master schedule at the secondary level, which again, thank you to Dr. Bolton for his prior presentation, but to implement that requires additional investments in order to ensure that we have who and what we need to implement all aspects of a rotating schedule at the intermediate school and a rotating dropped block schedule at the high school, which will engage all of our students in a single unit lunch, which means having all those students have an opportunity to be able to purchase a lunch and have a place to eat that lunch. Requires an investment that is also supported by this budget. The work that we started this year, actually, I take that back. The work that started last year that we continued into this year will then once again continue next year. So all the curriculum writing, the professional development, the acquisition and implementation of resources are all continued to be part of our operating budget for the upcoming school year. We've mentioned before the purchase of 2 buses. With this year's budget now will be complemented by 2 bus drivers for next year's budget. We've been able to make use of those vehicles this year already, but being able to now secure 2 bus drivers allows us to fully incorporate them into our transportation plans for both in-district, field trips, athletics, and all of the above. The work that we did last year to introduce a line item that will allow us to slowly but surely refresh our furniture in all of our schools began with first grade furniture replacement and will continue into next year with second grade furniture replacement. And as I mentioned earlier, the furniture that's required to implement additional seating and purchase options for students at the high school are also included in this budget as well. So now this is where I get to take a step back and hand it off to Patty to start talking about the revenues, the expenditures, and the tax impacts associated with the preliminary budget. Patty?
And although I think it might be more interesting if I did sing it, everyone might leave, so it wouldn't be as good. So we did get good news last Thursday. We already said it to the board, but just to say it in public, we did receive more state aid than we thought. So we got an additional 6% state aid, which equaled about $500,000. So what we used that for was to reduce the additional spending proposal. It was $800,000. Now, if you look at this slide, it's $302,000. What that means is in the additional spending proposal, the middle column that you see, are 3 teachers, 2 elementary teachers, 1 intermediate teacher, and their related health benefits. That's what didn't fit into the base budget. So the base budget at adjusted cap on the left, or the revenues, that's with our health adjustment that we were able to take advantage of. So you'll see the tax levy on here, the additional spending proposal. This shows our fund balance that we appropriate, so that's the amount left over from last year, if we have any money left over, that we appropriate in the following year to offset taxes. Our state aid is up to $8.9 million. Extraordinary aid, we always budget a piece of that because we don't know how much we'll get. Our miscellaneous revenues include our interest income, subscription busing, tuition from the few students, the preschool tuition, all goes into that. And then our transfer from capital reserve, there is a resolution in here that spells out each of the projects, but that is our money that we're taking out of capital reserve to do our summer projects. So if you go to the next slide, now you'll see the breakout of the expenditures that go with that. So as you can see, it's mostly salary and benefits. I'd like to highlight our out-of-district tuition is very stable from last year, and that has 2 contributing factors. One was that we brought those middle school programs online that kept students in-house, and we did have some students graduate out where they'll be graduating this June. But there was definitely a cost savings noted with opening those 2 middle school programs. Our transportation also, as Ray said, we're going to be hiring 2 drivers for next year. That was a cost savings. The total tuition is only going up by about 1.6% over last year, whereas in previous years it had been an average of 6, even 7% some years. So we're already reaping in the savings estimated for next year that'll be used for some in-district runs. And then the rest we have our supplies and materials, and on the next page you'll see you'll start to see the pie charts that kind of explain this a little bit better too. So we can go to the next. So now, when you look at our revenues, the largest piece of revenue in Westfield is the local tax levy. It's 90% of our revenues. If you went to a school, a city school, this would be flipped. So where the state aid is at 6.8%, that would be somewhat around the tax levy, and the rest would be state aid. So it's just how the state distributes the money among the districts in New Jersey. So 90% is our tax levy. Then the fund balance that I showed you, the 1.5 million, accounts for 1.2%. State aid went up by a little from last year, so it's 6.8% now. Extraordinary aid is relatively the same at 0.7. Our interest is 0.3%. We have been getting the past couple of years more interest than what we budget, but we never know where that's going to land. And I need to make my budget balanced, so I cannot budget more and then the interest rate drops. If we get more, we'll put it into reserves at year end or back to fund balance. And the rest of the revenues are tuition, student activity fees, and any other miscellaneous income we could take in. Now the next slide shows how the operating budget is spent, and you'll see another large blue piece of the pie. It's our salaries and benefits. That's what we do. We just have we have teachers that teach students, and it's the majority of our budget. So when people say, why can't you cut other things? Why aren't other things in here? 80% of our budget is our teachers and staff and the related benefits with them. Then you'll see our out-of-district tuition is 5.7% of the budget. The transportation that's in district and out of district is 4.7%. Our supplies, materials, textbooks, and equipment only makes up 1.9%, and that does include refreshing Chromebooks for next year too, some grade levels of that. Our capital reserve projects are 1.6% of our budget. Our required maintenance of school facilities, so that's all our custodial supplies and equipment that's budgeted in there. Our maintenance supplies is 2%. And then our outside providers, consultants, district insurance, and conferences. The outside providers and consultants are mostly related to special education needs, so our speech consultants, OT, PT, anything that we can't do in-house, we do try to hire as many as we can, but there are still a large number that have outside providers. And our district insurance also is going up. We're estimating about a 10% increase on that. So now we get into our bar graph again, and you'll see now it has changed. So the blue has stayed the same. It's 2.92%. That's the budget that the board will vote on, and the board has the only vote on that. So if you approve it tonight and then you approve it at the public hearing on March 25th, that piece of the budget is approved and ready to go for next year. The voters, you will approve tonight for us to ask the voters to approve the $302,000 on the April 15th ballot. And that equates to 0.2%, 26% of the entire budget. Then we get into the fun numbers of the tax impact. The average house in Westfield is now valued at $826,700. So what that equates to is an increase of a total of $240 for the budget for this year. The base budget that the board approves is an increase of $207, and the additional spending proposal is $33 a year. So for a total of $240. I'd also like to highlight in this, since we're going over the referendum a lot, you'll see the debt service in there all the way on the right. That is previous bonds, previous referendums that have happened. So you could see it equates to $140 that we're still paying off from those other referendums. And then we go into the actual ballot language. This is more condensed than in the previous years because, as Dr. Gonzalez said, our focus this year was to continue on the work that we've started. So we're just looking at maintaining our current staff, whereas in the previous years we were adding other staff in this question. So you'll see it asks for the 2 elementary teachers, 1 intermediate teacher, and the health benefits. And then the last lines that the approval of these taxes will permanently increase the tax base. That means that the 2% for next year will be on the whole 3.18% increase, not just the base. It stays in there. And then the last line has to say on the ballot that the proposed additional expenditures are in addition to those necessary for the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, because we cannot put any mandated expenses into a ballot spending proposal.
Okay, so with the bond referendum also being on the ballot, we do want to make sure that each of our presentations includes an update on the referendum. In addition to the updates we've provided in the past, we have been fortunate enough to get in touch with contacts at the Department of Education to hear that we should be receiving final approval by early next week. We are very confident in that, but hopeful nevertheless. And really recognizing that in order for us to be able to provide the same level of detail that we just did at the budget level, we seek to do the same for the referendum. We want to be able to no longer provide for illustrative purposes only, but be able to provide the complete picture for everyone. So we appreciate everyone's understanding and patience, but we are equally chomping at the bit to get those final numbers, and we look forward to providing those as soon as we receive them. The community engagement sessions have been going extremely well with each of the PTOs at the schools hosting us. We've been able to really get the word out wherever and whenever we can, with several additional engagements scheduled for the remaining time leading up to the April 15th election and budget vote. We are also looking to include 2 referendum questions on the ballot, and we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail, but we wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that everything continues to progress in the same fashion. When you look at this slide, we had included this slide in our previous presentation to really highlight that the first referendum question, remember there's going to be 3 questions related to the proposals that we've discussed this evening. The first will be budget related, and then the next 2 will be referendum related. The first referendum question will be on all the renovations and additions relative to instructional space needs, specialty space needs, as well as the infrastructure needs, whether it be bathroom renovations or HVAC improvements and upgrades. We also recognize that in order to separate out the second question, which are the construction and renovations associated with implementing full-day kindergarten, there's a slight overlap of the projects. So in order to fully realize the construction and renovations necessary for full-day kindergarten, some of the items that are in the first referendum question actually are necessary to actually implement all the full-day kindergarten classroom renovations and construction. So what that means is, worst case scenario, if the second question passes and the first does not, the Board of Education and the administration will then have to use their capital reserves to make up the difference. So I just want to make sure that that's clear and understood, because it's important to note that while these two are independent, in other words, you don't have to vote yes on either for the other to pass, there is an interdependence that may be necessary if one does not pass, that we would then have to use our regular operating budget and or our capital reserves to be able to accomplish. The total amount that you see associated with each referendum question represents the total amount that each of those questions is valued at. But as Patty has mentioned on several occasions, that amount is offset over the repayment of the bond through the debt or service aid that we would receive from the state. This slide has been added to both this presentation and our community presentations, really as a way to summarize all of the various projects that were represented in each of those questions, but also to show the distribution across our 9 schools. Remember, I say 9 because Lincoln School is not part of the referendum, as the renovations to bring that school online had been completed in the not too distant past. But as you see here, the HVAC upgrades, the restroom renovations, the increases to small group instruction spaces are across the board. Franklin through the high school will receive some level of increased space, renovated space, or certainly upgrades to their HVAC systems, in some cases to include large spaces such as gymnasiums and cafeterias, or in the case of our elementary schools, they've already had that occur, so we're not going to obviously continue to upgrade the HVAC in those already touched spaces. But we are also looking to add multi-purpose rooms, as we've mentioned before, at Franklin and Jefferson because of the size of their enrollment. And we're also looking to relocate the main office at Jefferson and McKinley because the current placement of the offices are not ideal for ensuring safe passage for anyone visiting our schools. We want to make sure they are immediately greeted by our office staff. And in order to do that, we have to relocate those 2 main offices. We also include, as you note here, renovations to the media centers at both Edison and Roosevelt, as well as the high school. And then the update to the high school auditorium is also included in this referendum. And if you recall, both Edison and Roosevelt recently had their auditoriums renovated. So this is our opportunity to round out the renovations of our auditoriums here at the high school. And then last but not least, you'll notice in the final column, the addition of classroom space at each of our elementary schools in order to allow us the opportunity to bring full-day kindergarten to Westfield is all included in bond question 2. One slide that we've included in our presentations when we do our road shows, but also we wanted to make sure is included here this evening, is because we want to make sure that everyone knows what they are signing up for. We want to ensure that when people cast their votes in April, that they recognize that a vote in April for our operating budget results in our ability to continue the work that we've been doing year after year. The vote for the referendum is basing that decision on our opportunity to bring those renovations and improvements that you saw on the prior slide, as well as our full-day kindergarten. But it's important to note that the full-day kindergarten question is essentially a 2-step question. The first question is the bond question, the request of the community to be able to sell bonds needed to cover the cost of the construction and renovation of classrooms to bring full-day kindergarten to each of our elementary schools. Once we build those classrooms, so if everything were to be approved and we receive the support to build those classrooms, we still need the support of the community in order to staff those classrooms. So it's important to note that an additional operating budget addition would be necessary down the road in order to cover the cost to add teachers needed to implement full-day kindergarten. So that cost is not included in the referendum, but we want to make sure we're transparent and open so that everyone knows that this would be a 2-step approval, beginning with the April 15th vote. Now, the voter information, again, we've shared before, but it's important enough when we have an April 15th budget vote, referendum, and board election that coincides with our spring break. We want to ensure that everyone is aware of their options and opportunities to ensure that their ballot is cast and their voice is heard. So this month in March, we are taking the opportunity to do our due diligence to get the budgets and ballot questions finalized so that come April, the bond referendum and budget vote will both be listed on the ballot for voter approval. We've seen the actual ballot language or previewed the ballot language this evening for our budget vote, and we look forward at our next board meeting to provide the ballot language inclusive of the final numbers for our referendum questions. So we've been able to check off that the release of state aid anticipated at the end of February was confirmed and is incorporated into the presentation this evening. This evening's presentation of the preliminary budget will then be submitted to the County Office of the Department of Education for them to do their review and approval. And then, as I indicated earlier, March 10th, we expect to receive notification of debt service aid as it relates to our referendum, so that by March 25th, we will have our final public hearing on the budget, where the board will vote on the final base budget, the additional spending proposal, as well as the bond referendum ballot language that will appear on April 15th's ballot. So we encourage everyone to stay informed. We encourage everyone to use the opportunities to attend any of our voter education presentations, which are listed on our community engagement portion of our referendum portal. If you have not gotten a chance to check that out, we certainly encourage you to visit the portal as we continue to add updates to it with information as we receive it. We recognize that everyone consumes their information in different amounts and at different points. So we've ensured that we meet everyone's appetite with a variety of different formats and forms and lengths. So if you're visual, if you're an auditory learner, if you are one who just needs the facts, we are going to bring it to you in every way, shape, and form possible. And if there is any other way that you would like to see it, please let us know, and we would be happy to accommodate. So we ask everyone to make sure that you vote on April 15th. And if you have not gotten a chance to submit for a mail-in ballot, we encourage you to go to our website in order to download the application, or if you need additional assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. That concludes our presentation this evening.
Okay, any questions from among the board? Mary?
Okay, thanks, Ken. Thanks. First, thanks, Patty and Ray, for doing all the numbers and the slides. Loved it. Slide 51 is my favorite. But I do have a question on I know you tell me this every year, Patty, but slide 45, the increase on the tax base, can you explain that to me again? Because we're going over 2.92. So then explain to me what happens as taxpayers.
So as taxpayers, as the board, you're allowed to approve a budget up to 2.92% because we got a healthcare adjustment because healthcare costs went above 2%.
Okay.
So that's what the board is allowed to approve without the voters.
Okay.
The additional 302,000, which is the 0.26%, will be on the ballot. Those two added together is an average increase on your taxes of about $240 if you have a house valued at $826,000. So what happens is if your taxes were $10,000, they would be $10,240 if this passes.
Is that what you mean when you use the terms increase on the tax base?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. And then just to reiterate, because I didn't realize this at first, there's 3 questions really on the ballot.
Yes.
Okay.
The budget will be first, followed by the 2 referendum questions.
Got it. Okay. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Layla?
I think Mary kind of assisted with what I was going to say. I wanted to thank the administration because the amount of time and effort it takes to put all this together and to make it so available to the community, to be so transparent, to take it on the road, so to speak, and make it available for people who can see it online, for people who can listen to it, for people who can read it, for people who can come in the mornings, the afternoons. I just think I don't want it to be overlooked that the attempt to get all of this information out is so clear, and we're just very grateful for an administration that is invested in educating the community on what the situation is here with the budget. So thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry, I'm Marianne. I don't know why I didn't say Marianne. And Marianne.
That's true. I want to add my thanks as well. I've been to a few of the road shows and watching just the interplay between the communications and the numbers and the transparency and the presentation is really excellent. We've had some pretty good turnout at those sessions. I know there's a lot more to come. I know we're talking about everything from print media to electronic media, all of which is probably hangs on us getting those numbers back from the state, which I will say is a frustrating process, to put it politely. And Dr. Gonzalez and Patty are being nice about that. But we are certainly at a point, as Layla mentioned, where we are trying to get as much communication out to the public with as much information that we have at the time. And as soon as we have those numbers, that will help. I'll say for the board, there are drafts of what the bond language would look like. If you head to the Finance and Facilities Committee reports, you'll see that. Assuming we do get this on March 10th, obviously we are going to put our pedal to the metal, so to speak, to start getting things out. So if there are comments from the board, I know we're getting the numbers right now, and you may think of some things afterward. This is the time to start asking questions and to kind of raise any other issues you might have. The last thing I'll say, just for the public and for us as well, is the referendum and the budget are part of a very linked process, where each kind of depends on the other. We've said at the public groups that it was about 3 years ago that we sort of hit that fiscal wall with our budget when we were making significant cuts that none of us really wanted to make. I would actually submit we probably hit that wall a little earlier when we stopped growing as a district, when the ingenuity of a lot of our staff and our teachers and our administrators had to be stopped because we couldn't afford what we were going to do, even though it needed to get done, because we were reacting. We were trying to figure out how we were going to stave off the increased costs with the limited cap that we have. And we've now, over the course of the years, I mean, we're focusing on the referendum, but I don't want to miss on what went into building this. A wholesale change in our budgeting process, steered by great leadership, where we have now built into an operating budget a lot of new things that we are now taking for granted. New furniture, a grounds crew that's going to keep regular field maintenance, things that are going to help take some of the things that we might have had to put in a capital budget into regular maintenance, therefore extending the life of things. There's also a capital reserve for those middle level projects, right? And that's where we talk, and Julie always asks about this, rightfully so. What happens after? What's the contingency? The contingency becomes our capital reserve. And we raise that by raising taxes. So we don't see a 2.9, we don't see a 3.1, we start to see 5s and 6s again to make up for a lot of the things, especially in the first question, that are just going to need to get done. And they're going to get done on our dime, 100%, as opposed to through the referendum with state aid. And I'm not going to steal Brendan's thunder, because I know he has a couple of estimates at least. But the state contributes. The state contributes on the referendum. And that's why that referendum is the third part of this process, which is so essential, right? We can take the big things in a referendum that frees up space in the capital for those, for those other nagging items. And when you're budgeting your base budget the right way, you're able to fit more of those regular things in. So, our contingencies aren't great if the referendum doesn't pass. I mean, it means we're coming back for raised taxes, or it means we're going out again for a referendum with different language in it. And none of those are particularly pleasant. But unfortunately, as great as the show we just saw was, we can't have them operate all year and raise ticket prices. That's not going to cover what we're doing. But we're kind of limited in how we can get things work. So, I appreciate the work that's been done, and I appreciate the partnership with the public that's happened over the last 3 years to help build our budget to get us to where we can put this out and be very, very confident in what we're doing, and get the kids who put on a great show, theater to match the talent, among other things. So thank you, guys. Sure.
You said something, Rob, that kind of clicked to me. I think what I'm most proud about all of this work with the administration and the board is that we are no longer, as a district, being reactive, we're being proactive. And having been a student and a teacher and now a parent and now I'm on the board, I can say confidently that since I was 4 years old, I haven't seen this kind of proactive work being done in Westfield until like the last 3 years. And so I just want to say thank you. And I think we're in for a lot of really exciting and essential change.
And with that, I will head over to James for the high school student report.
Good evening. Westfield High School has been full of energy and excitement these past few weeks as it finally gets warmer out. SGA and Community Service Club have been hard at work preparing for the upcoming week of service. Most items from our Amazon wishlist have been purchased, and members of each club have begun unpacking the items to prepare for our activity period, April 11th. In addition to that, we will be holding a clothing drive, book drive, and our annual student versus teacher basketball game, with more information to come as the event gets closer. Additionally, the theater department has been hard at work preparing for their spring musical Smile, which shows March 20th, 21st, and 22nd at 7:30 p.m. With WHS closing out the halfway point of the third marking period, students are looking forward to a great rest of the year. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll now move to the board committee reports. We'll start with curriculum instruction and programs. Krista.
The SIP committee convened on Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. at Roosevelt Intermediate School. The agenda for the meeting focused on 2 items: a presentation on the role and function of the child study team and the intervention programs, provided by the district's 2 supervisors of student support services, Mrs. Alex Linden and Mrs. Katie Neshawat. The committee was also provided a thorough overview of the new K-5 social studies curriculum by K-12 social studies and business education supervisor, Mrs. Andrea Brennan. The meeting began with a tour of Roosevelt's new Fab Lab, the ERI classroom, and the child study team offices. These newly renovated spaces provided the committee with a first-hand view of how 21st century design principles and materials and technology can renovate old instructional spaces into modern, student-responsive learning environments. They are so impressive if you have a chance to go to the school and check it out. The presentation facilitated by Dr. Weissman, Mrs. Linden, and Mrs. Neshawat provided the committee with an in-depth look at the role of the child study team and the intervention programs. The supervisors highlighted the important role that each child study team plays in determining eligibility for special education services. The supervisors also provided the committee with insights into the evolving intervention programs throughout the district. The supervisors described the modern school intervention programs are driven by student screening and diagnostic assessment data. The goal is that intervention is provided through structured cycles that target key skills for improvement. The district is currently implementing new screening assessments like DIBELS, iReady, and the Universal Screener for Number Sense that provide insights into important reading, language arts, and math skills. The district is also piloting a number of diagnostic tools that will allow the interventionists to identify specific areas to target for individual students. K-12 Social Studies Business Education Supervisor, Mrs. Andrea Brennan, rounded out the meeting with a presentation on the new K-5 Social Studies curriculum. The new social studies curriculum was created by Mrs. Brennan and a team of 15 elementary teachers who represent each grade, and also special education teachers. The major changes to the curriculum reflect that the documents were crafted using the district's new Understanding by Design framework. They now include key transfer skills at each grade level. They incorporate a common sequence of instructional units for each grade level and are aligned to cultural observances such as Patriot Day, Black History Month, and Holocaust Remembrance. Key content changes include increasing the amount of time students spend studying civics, geography, and the founding documents and founding fathers of the United States. The next meeting for SIP will take place on March 24th at 9 a.m.
Excellent. If there's any questions, we'll move to the report from Finance and Facilities. Brendan?
Yep. Finance and Facilities Committee met on Friday. We discussed several topics related to the budget, the referendum, and our multi-year facilities plan. Just every year we review the small projects we want to do out of capital and maintenance reserve over the summer, develop a plan, and where new projects fall into a priority list. Every year, new projects come on and they get placed. Does it have to happen right now? Can it happen over the summer? Can we wait a year or two, or can we wait longer? And that's how we've operated forever. It's how most districts operate. So again, we started looking at that this year. Every year we have some budget surplus. It gets moved into capital accounts, and that's how these projects happen. So as we reference back to contingency, if we have to do any of the referendum projects out of our capital budget, that means the projects that we try to do every year and have mapped out outside of the referendum will not happen for the next couple of years. We discussed the change to state aid, the positive change. We had been given sort of a catch-all, expect 3% aid cut, and it turns out we got a 6% increase. It's not often that the state does a last-minute switch on us that benefits us. So we discussed how we want to proceed. We discussed options, including what can we eliminate to get down to not have a second budget question. We talked about keeping things exactly the way we're presenting them now, or we talked about what can we add. And the consensus from the committee is that we reached a consensus on the budget the way we initially presented it, anticipating flat state aid. And when we got an increase in state aid, we should dollar for dollar reduce what we're going to ask the voters for. It seems to be the most financially prudent on behalf of the board to maintain the budget that we were talking about and just reduce because of the increase in state aid. We did talk about the delay with the state in approving the referendum questions, and the level of frustration that's happening in Westfield almost rises to contempt with the state. Statute and the administrative code say the state has 90 days to review a project and give us our award letter. It's been 153 days since they received our submission packet. Since the state won't do their job, I'm going to estimate what our state aid is going to look like. Aid amounts for construction projects in districts like Westfield, we're going to get the minimum amount. Westfield's just too wealthy in the state's eyes to get anything more than the bare minimum that they have to provide by statute, which is 40% of renovation costs and 40% of $143 per square foot in new construction for approved projects related to capacity issues. So I took the estimates from our architect, which the state is using those same numbers, and took 40% of that and 40% of the approved, well, at least what I think will be approved in terms of capacity increases, and we're looking at somewhere in the range of $52 to $56 million in state aid. That works out to 23 to 24.5% of our budget, our total project costs. So since we are about 6 weeks out from the election, what does that look like to the voter? If we're looking at an average valuation of $126,000 for the average homeowner in town, that works out to about $800 per house per year, factoring in state aid. State aid works out to about $300 per house per year. we're at an opportunity in Westfield that we never get to say, which is the state's going to give us almost $60 million, provided the voters approve these projects. If we have to do this out of capital, the state does not fund any portion of that. They only fund debt service aid. So the opportunity for Westfield to do this by saving and, doing the renovation projects over 20, it would take us 20 years, and the state would contribute nothing. Or we can do it in 3 years, and the state pays for 40% of it. It's an opportunity we're not going to get again, and it's something that we need to, now's the time to do it. If we're going to do it, now's the time. Like Chris and I grew up in town, I went through these schools, and not a single thing has changed other than maybe a coat of paint and some new floor tiles since I came here in 1994, and Chris, and you can add a couple more years to that. No. No. I said a couple. Two more years. You started in 1982. Kent, did I miss anything from? I did have to drop off the meeting early, so
Can I say something? I just wanted to say how much I admired the decision to apply the entirety of the state aid back to the taxpayer. I've watched other towns not make similar decisions, and I just think it's a tremendous reflection of the committee and the board that we did that, especially at a time like now. I just think it just reflects tremendous restraint and integrity, and I just wanted to say thank you for representing and for making such a good, judicious decision.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Julie. And I'll turn it back to Rob.
Yep. We'll now move to report by Policies, Personnel, and Governance. Mary?
Hi, yeah, we do not have a report tonight for PPG. We have not gotten a chance to meet since the last board meeting, so we will be actually meeting next Wednesday, the 19th at 3:45.
All right, thank you for that. And next will be a report from the Referendum Communications Ad Hoc Committee. Also Mary.
You thought you were going to get out of giving a report tonight.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The Referendum Communications Ad Hoc Committee met virtually on February 19th from 4 to 5. In attendance were board members Sonal Patel, Mary Wickens, Kristen Sonic-Schmeltz, and Rob Bonaccio, along with administrators Mary Ann McGann and Dr. Gonzalez. The meeting began with an update on the Community Communications Advisory Committee, which met on February 10th. Key themes from that discussion were reviewed, including the importance of highlighting full-day kindergarten as a significant component of the referendum, particularly for voters who do not have children of that age group. The committee also emphasized the need to educate the community on the mail-in ballot process to ensure broad participation in the referendum. Updates to the online bond information portal were shared, along with community engagement schedules, which continues to serve as a roadmap for outreach efforts. Next, the committee reviewed various print and digital materials currently being used to inform the public about the referendum. These materials include a retractable banner for display in schools and at events, a digital flyer for widespread distribution, and a draft video that is being utilized during roadshow presentations and will also be broken into smaller clips for sharing on social media. Additional outreach materials include palm cards with direct links to online information, mail-in ballot instructions, and continued enhancements to the online portal at Westfield, New Jersey, k12.org/vote. The committee then discussed ongoing communication efforts designed to maximize community awareness. A range of activities will be employed leading up to the referendum, including social media posts, media briefings, and letters to the editor. Updates will continue to be shared via school and district e-blasts, the district newsletter, and messages from the mayor's office. Additional strategies include creating a window flyer for local businesses, distributing palm cards to board members, PTOs, principals, administrators, and community partners, and sending direct mailers. As the referendum date approaches, outreach efforts will intensify with in-app notifications, text messages, and phone calls as part of the final push to encourage voter participation. And I'm going to add a big thank you to Mary Ann for doing all of this for us. Thank you very much. The next meeting of the Referendum Communications Committee is scheduled for March 12th at 4 via Google Meet.
Thank you. We're now going to move to our first public comment session. During this portion of the meeting, district residents and staff are invited to address the Board of Education on agenda action items only. The agenda action items are those color-coded in the board's agenda. If you have public comment on items we're not going to be voted on, there will be a second public comment once we're through voting at the end, so just hold your comments until then. As a courtesy, please allow current students and staff of Westfield Public Schools to speak first. The board requests that individuals sign in and state their name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation, if applicable, for the record, the specific action item they are commenting on, and ask that all remarks be directed to the board president or designee, not to individual members or staff. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding personnel matters are discouraged and cannot be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. If a matter concerning a district staff member is of interest or concern to a resident, the matter should be referred to the responsible building principal, superintendent of schools, or the Board of Education, either by telephone, letter, or email. Although the board may not respond to items raised during the public forum, all public comments will be considered. Please note that if any member of the public becomes disruptive during the meeting, the board president may terminate the participant's statement. Continued disruptions may result in removal from the meeting or adjournment of the meeting. Each speaker's statement will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Okay. Seeing no one approach, I will close the first public comment and move to board action items. First, I'd like to make a motion. Yes, I got you. No, thank you. First, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 11th, 2025 regular board meeting and executive session. Can I have a second, please? Ken, I'll do this by voice vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that carries. Next, we'll move to governance. Sonal?
I'd like to make a motion to move items A and B under the governance section of tonight's agenda. Item B is to approve the resolution to support and celebrate Youth Art Month and music in our schools. Can I have a second? Thank you, Mary.
Patty?
Rob Bonaccio,
Yes.
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Charles Gelinas,
No for A, yes for B.
Layla Morelli,
Yes.
Sonal Patel,
Yes.
Kristen Sonic-Schmeltz,
Yes.
Julie Steinberg,
No to A, yes to B.
Mary Wickens.
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move to the personnel items on the agenda. Mary?
Thanks. I'd like to move items A through T under the personnel section of tonight's agenda. Can I have a second? Layla, thank you. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, this evening we do have two retirements that I'd like to recognize. The first being Amy Abramson. Amy Abramson has been an unwavering advocate for the academic, social, and emotional success of every student on her caseload, dedicating her career to supporting students with diverse learning needs for the past 13 years in our district. Her approach is highly organized, maintaining meticulous records, tracking student progress, and ensuring robust communication with teachers, parents, and support staff. Amy's proactive problem-solving skills have allowed her to anticipate challenges and implement practical, effective solutions that enhance student development, has been instrumental in helping countless students build confidence and achieve their educational goals. Beyond her direct interactions with students, she has been a cornerstone for teachers, offering valuable guidance on best practices in special education and fostering an inclusive learning environment. Amy's collaboration with families has also been pivotal pivotal, providing them with insight, reassurance, and strong advocacy to support their child's growth both in and out of the classroom. The profound influence she has had on the lives of her students and colleagues will undoubtedly continue to resonate for years to come. Next up, we have Dennis McMorrow. Dennis McMorrow has dedicated 31 years to the field of education, spending a significant portion of his career enriching the lives of students at Roosevelt Intermediate School. As a passionate teacher of English language arts and journalism, Dennis has gone beyond traditional teaching methods, integrating powerful life lessons into his curriculum. Through thought-provoking units on social justice and an interdisciplinary exploration of the Holocaust, he has ensured his students develop not only robust academic skills, but also the critical thinking and empathy needed for their future challenges in education and beyond. Dennis has consistently emphasized the importance of building strong, supportive relationships with the students, understanding that the influence of a teacher reaches far beyond the classroom. His dedication to nurturing these connections has left a lasting impression on his students, equipping them to be thoughtful and informed individuals. As Dennis transitions into retirement, we reflect on his profound impact and unwavering dedication, grateful for his years of service and the enduring lessons he has imparted on both literature and life. We wish all of our retirees all the best as they begin the next chapter of their lives.
Rob
Good, man.
Bonaccio,
Yes.
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Charles Gelinas.
Yes.
Layla Morelli,
Yes.
Sonal Patel,
Yes.
Kristen Sonic-Schmeltz,
Yes.
Julie Steinberg,
Yes.
Mary Wickens.
Yes.
Next, we'll move to Finance and Facilities. Ken?
Thank you. I'd like to move items A through I under the finance section of tonight's agenda, and I'd like to highlight some donations this time. We had 5 of them. First, a big thanks to Kenneth McRitchie for $100 to fund the annual Walton Burrs Music Award and Ian McRitchie Information Technology Award, which are awarded to Westfield High School Senior at Awards Night. Second, a $1,000 donation from Anonymous to fund supplies for Roosevelt Intermediate School. Third, the New Jersey Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents donated $250 to support student scholarships. Next, we have Leonardo Ramos and Sonio Park donated $100 to support the Edison Intermediate School Orchestra program. And then Franklin PTO donated $9,140.52 to fund the Franklin Project Playground. Thank you to these 5 special people and organizations. And our donations to date are now $100,599.52. Thank you to all. Can I have a second, please? Thank you, Christian.
Patty?
Rob Bonaccio,
Yes.
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Charles Gelinas.
Yes.
Layla Morelli,
Yes.
Sonal Patel,
Yes.
Kristen Sonic-Schmeltz,
Yes.
Julie Steinberg,
Yes.
Mary Wickens.
Yes.
Next, it's a big night for you, Mary. We'll move to policies.
No, I feel so special tonight. A lot of action. I'd like to move item A under the policy section of tonight's agenda. This item includes 6 mandated policies up for second reading. Can I have a second? Sonal?
Patty?
Rob Bonaccio,
Yes.
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Charles Gelinas,
No to A2, yes to all the others.
Layla Morelli,
Yes.
Sonal Patel,
Yes.
Kristen Sonic-Schmeltz,
Yes.
Julie Steinberg,
No to A2, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Yes to all others.
Mary Wickens.
Yes.
All right, and last, curriculum instructions and programs. Kristen?
I'd like to move items under A, under the SIP portion of tonight's agenda. A asks us to approve 2 field trips, one at Westfield and, one at Westfield High School and one at Roosevelt. Can I get a second? Oh, okay. I was gonna call him Layla, but then I heard Kent. So. Oh no, I'm torn. Layla. Kent's probably had one tonight. Okay.
Patty?
Rob Bonaccio,
Yes.
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Charles Gelinas?
Yes.
Leila Morelli?
Yes.
Sonal Patel?
Yes.
Kristen Sonic-Schmelz?
Yes.
Julie Steinberg?
Yes.
Mary Wickens?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to call the board's attention to the notes for the record. There was no unfinished or new business submitted under board protocol for inclusion on this agenda, so we'll move to liaison reports if anybody has any. That was easy. Then we'll move to the second public comment session. During this portion of the meeting, members of the public are invited to address the Board of Education on any topic. As a courtesy, allow current students and staff of the Westfield Public Schools to speak first. The board requests that individuals sign in and state their name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable for the record, and asks that all remarks be directed to the board president or designee, not to individual members or staff. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding personnel matters are discouraged and cannot be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. If a matter concerning a district staff member is of interest or concern to a resident, that matter should be referred to the responsible building principal, superintendent of schools, or the Board of Education, either by telephone, letter, or email. Although the board may not respond to items raised during the public forum, all public comments will be considered. Please note that if any member of the public becomes disruptive during the meeting, the board president may terminate the participant's statement. Continued disruptions may result in removal from the meeting or adjournment of the meeting. Each speaker's statement will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Thank you very much. Oh, good. All right. Unless there's anyone else, we'll close second public comment, and I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
New business? Is there new business options?
Yeah, usually with new business, we put it on the agenda beforehand, so we can talk after. We'll get it to one of the
There's
committees
just one
that you're
thing
looking
that
for.
special ed asked to share.
Oh,
about
sure.
the
Yeah,
Cuthbertson.
I could let's call it that a liaison report then. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We'll make it happen.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead.
Just that the Catherine E. Cuthbertson Memorial Achievement Award Scholarship has been opened for the year, and you can go to the Westfield Public School PT Special Education Committee site, which is on the district website. Any senior graduating who's had a 5 or 4 or an IEP is eligible. Catherine Cuthbertson was a student here, and this is offered every single year. The application deadline is Friday, March 28th, and SPED is encouraging everybody to apply, and they've asked everybody to please spread the word and share it. I think everybody on the board has received this, so please pass this around and make sure that everybody's aware.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now I think I will make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second? Sonal, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned.